what are the stories we're telling ourselves? What stories are we constantly telling ourselves day after day that might be old stories that are no longer relevant? Hey everyone, Gregory Douglass here, sometimes known as the Creative Advisor. I lived out here in Los Angeles for about 3 years now by way of Vermont, and it's been long enough now that I actually feel like I live here. I have so much Vermont pride. I'm so happy to be from there. Living in Burlington, Vermont for so many years really helped to launch my music and my creativity. I'm so grateful for that. It was such a nurturing community. And now that I'm more of a small fish in a much larger pond out here in Los Angeles, it's been interesting to be a part of this enormous creative economy full of so much talent, so many interesting things going on. Yet the majority of people that I've met are struggling in the same ways that I struggle as a creative person. So much has changed, especially in the music business. And I think a big part of the struggle is that as much as so many people are collaborating creatively, we're not really talking about the struggles as much as we should. We're not really talking with each other about the struggles as much as we could. Financial struggles, struggling for exposure, struggling to sustain our craft. I think there should just be a much more open dialogue. So I'm trying to speak out about this a little bit more in hopes that other people will jump in and participate in the conversation as well. A big challenge for I think a lot of creative people is that I am my own product, for example. I'm a musician, I've got 10 albums out now. It's hard to separate myself as Gregory Douglass the person and Gregory Douglass the musician and creative entrepreneur. I'm sort of selling myself here. And you know, when you are your own product, you feel this sense of obligation to really only talk about the exciting stuff and the things that are working. It's hard to talk about the things that aren't working as well, because that's the kind of stuff most people don't want to hear about. It's a similar situation with social media, scrolling through Facebook and Instagram and just seeing nothing but the good, wonderful things that are happening with people that we love and we care about. And of course, we're so happy for them that that's the case, but we're also kind of beating ourselves up for it a little bit, feeling harder on ourselves than we should because we're comparing ourselves to them unintentionally. Sometimes I end up feeling worse about myself after I get off social media for a little while. So I think it's sort of the same fundamental dynamic happening there. I think we're all missing out on the whole truth when it comes to these type of examples. We are inherently intelligent beings, so if we feel like we're only getting half the truth or we're not really sure the whole story, then it's hard to lean into truly feeling the joy and happiness that I think we all want to feel about the people that we love and that we certainly want to feel about ourselves. I think the conversations that we have with each other are extremely important now more than ever, but I also think that the conversations that we're having with ourselves are also extremely important. And this has been a theme for me lately, this whole concept of what are the stories we're telling ourselves? What stories are we constantly telling ourselves day after day that might be old stories that are no longer relevant, that are holding us back, that are keeping us small, that are keeping us in our small story about ourselves, that are based on assumptions and probably mostly false assumptions, that are based on our past conditioning, on our past experiences that are no longer serving us in a way that is allowing us to like step into our truth. I'm trying to be much more mindful about all of this, and I'm trying to be a much better listener in general when it comes to having conversations with other people, really listening and hearing where they're coming from and learning from that, and not jumping to conclusions and not making assumptions. But the same thing with myself, really listening to how I'm feeling and listening to the thoughts that I'm having more as an observer and less as taking it all on and letting it, you know, ruin my day or whatever. That has been a very powerful exercise. So I want to share a song with you now called Half of the Story, which is a song that I wrote back in high school when I was like 17 years old. The original recording is on my debut album, which is called If I Were a Man, if you want to hear the teenage version of it. Even though I wrote it when I was a teenager, I think it's the perfect song to share with you guys considering all the things I was just talking about.
We're building sunshine, I'm so close to home, it ain't even funny. Using laughter as my sword to those who won't be laughing. Undercover from a man who walks the shallow line, and all that matters is what's mine. 'cause I am only half of the story, and I don't really need your glories. I am only half of the story and what I seem to be. Come look at me, would you think that I've seen it all before? Come tell me I've never seen pain and I'm happy to the floor. We're happy people, that's what you are, that's how you stay. But hey, we all have to live our day, 'cause I am only half of the story, and I don't really need your glory, 'cause I am only half of the story and what I see to be. And I am only half of the story, and I don't really need your glory, 'cause I am only half of the story and what I see to be. Little boy can't cry, little boy gone sour, maybe little boy this time and this time around. Little boy gone dry, little boy neglected, maybe little boy next time around. Mother Earth is looking healthier as time goes by. The blooming flowers here and there to keep me walking high. I keep on smiling, trying to find